extended piece to that last video that I did talking about 5 things you should do at your engine machine shop. All right, so let's talk about, you got your engine at the engine machine shop. Gonna do a little series here. Now, if you have your engine at machine shop, this is something that I recommend to basically everybody. If you're bringing, we're gonna talk a B series Cummins. Let's say we're gonna talk, actually I got a customer, it's one of you guys, brought in an engine for us to look at. We're going to be, boring and honing. We're checking everything out, but we're going to be boring and honing, checking the main bores. We're going to go through the cylinder head, check the rods. We're doing all that stuff. Now, that being said, when you call an engine machine shop to have everything gone through, figure out what it's, what needs to be done. We have lots, people always ask me all the time, oh, how much is it going to cost before they bring it? Now, I have some for instance. So you drop something off. What I primarily like to do is we put it in the wash, we wash everything, we tear everything apart, and then we check everything. So we'll magnaflux, pressure test, do all the stuff that we need to do to be able to know, okay, the cylinder head is good to be rebuilt. The block is good to be rebuilt. Does the block need a sleeve? Does the block need 2 sleeves? Does the block need to be bored and honed, or can it stay standard? Is the main bore good? Is the cam bore good? All of that different stuff, right? So that's something that, when people call them on, oh, well, I want a quote on it. And it's just like, well, it's really hard for me to quote when I don't know what's wrong, right? Like, does the head need to be rebuilt? Most of the time, yes, on a Cummins, it does need to be rebuilt, but not always. Maybe it already has had the head rebuilt. We can tear it apart. You do a quick surface on it, make sure it's perfectly flat, new set of seals, put it back together. We do get that to come in and stuff is still okay, to be reused. Now, my opinion, if you're rebuilding the short block, you should be rebuilding the cylinder head. Because if you're not, it's like, why do half of it, not the other half? But then you have a completely new engine, or completely rebuilt engine. I shouldn't say new, a completely rebuilt engine. But it's just one of those things. That is one thing that, people do ask all the time. And then you do get some people, actually one of you guys commented, oh, well, you're going to get the upsell. Man, if you're going to a machine shop and those guys have time to upsell you on a whole bunch of stuff, you're going to the wrong place. I'm recommending stuff that I would do on my personal engine, so that that the guy's not having problems. That's where the pressure testing on the head, magnafluxing the block, checking main bores, polishing the crankshaft, all of that type of stuff, checking rods. I don't want to put my engine together and then have a problem with it, nor do I want you to put an engine together and have a problem with it. So I personally don't upsell on stuff. I tell guys, hey, this is what I recommend. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't want to do it, cool. It doesn't really matter. I have lots of stuff to do. We have, I have more work now than I did 3 weeks ago when I was talking about it. And I don't do any really advertising anymore. I probably will start doing a little bit of advertising here coming up, but I'll talk about that later. But just, one of those things. Also, too, if you're looking for advice and all that type of stuff, I tend to be more forthcoming with my time than I should be sometimes, because I do, I don't want to see guys spending money when they don't have to, or wasting money, or getting the wrong information. That drives me bonkers. But I do have to be very careful with that, because the amount of time that I spend talking to people either adds to the end of my day or is jobs I'm not getting done, which puts us even farther behind. Just what it is. But that is something to keep in when you call and, you call a shop that's busy, backed up, that type of stuff. And, the guy might be a little short with you, or he doesn't want to sit on the phone with you for half an hour or whatever. You just take in consideration that if that guy's not working, he's probably not making any money. So you have to and you're not the only person calling. You have to remember that too. You bring something in, you're not the only person. If you're the only person's stuff they have sitting there, they're not going to be in business for very long. So there's, we have multiple work orders sitting, waiting for us to look at, jobs that have been waiting for us. Some jobs for me, I'm not going to lie to you, they take precedent over other jobs. Like I have an exchange engine program, for you guys that don't know that. B-Series Cummins stuff, I have an exchange program, and I try to always keep a couple of each of the genres sitting on the floor ready to go. If I sell 3 or 4 of those, I drop, everything else gets dropped, and we build exchange engines. It is what it is. We do a lot of exchange engines. There's only 2 of us. So it's not like we have people that are dedicated. That's the only thing they do, because I don't have that. If I sell a bunch of exchange engines, we drop anything else that we're doing, go back to doing exchange engines. We'll machine, assemble, whatever we need to do. Like I try to batch machine that stuff. So most of the time it's just assemble a couple. So usually, we'll assemble, between the 2 of us, we'll assemble 3 engines in 2 days. That's about roughly or so between the 2 of us. So we're relatively efficient at it, but when we're doing that, we're not surfacing any heads, we're not pressure testing anything, we're not doing anything other than that. So, like most shops, I'm assuming, are probably going to have some sort of niche like that too. If the guy says, oh, it's going to be a couple weeks, and something like that happens, my 2 weeks could turn into 4 weeks. I try not to do that. I try, I'll stay late. Like it's 20 to 8 right now. I literally just finished working 15 minutes ago, now doing this video. And I started this morning, I wasn't here super early, but I started at 7 o'clock. So I was here, I did 13 hours, putting in, and now some of that was talking to customers and dealing with that stuff, but it is what it is, right? So, when you get your engine in there and that's the best way to do it. You're going to drop the engine off or your engine parts off and get them to give you a quote after they've checked it out. Now, if they don't do it that way, then okay, cool. Just don't be surprised if they call you back and say, hey, we got to put a sleeve in this cylinder, or we found a crack in the block, or we found a crack in the head, or something like that, when you thought everything was just going to be good and it was going to cost this much to fix it. That's the reason I don't like doing it that way. I'd prefer to go, completely test everything, check everything, then call the person and say, hey, this is what we found. This is what we need to do to go forwards, right? Also, another one too, that kind of drives me bonkers by times is that people will call and call and call and call and call, want to know if their stuff's done. I can guarantee you that pretty much every place, when it's done, they'll call. And I'm bad for giving short timelines. I need to correct myself with the timeline side of things, because I want to get everything done for everybody as fast as I can, and it just isn't enough time to do everything that I need to do. So I've had to, I've extended. Usually I used to do everything really, as fast as I possibly could. But we just have so much work now that we can't do that. So realistically, if you want a custom engine built, you're 2 months out. That's what it is, at least 2 months out. It could be even longer than that. I do have a program where I have a shop program that we deal with, and they pay a monthly fee to be on a priority list. And then also too, I do also have I can't call it a program, but I do have it. So if a customer brings something in, like a day-to-day customer brings something in, I have to have it right away. I do have basically we do a percentage over the normal price of the cost of doing it. And basically that covers overtime. So, I base everything off 9 hours. So I work 9 hours. After my 9 hours, there's an overtime charge. Now Hoy the guy that works for me, he works another job after this one. So he starts in the morning. When he's done, he can't stay for overtime. I'm the only one that does anything. Anything after hours or before hours is me. He can't because he's got to go to work. He has another job. So he's leaving here regardless. Doesn't matter if it's done or not. He can't stay because like I said, the other job takes over. So that is another thing that, you can ask, if you got a cylinder head, let's say you got a Cummins cylinder head, you got it off, you need it back within a day or two. That is something that you can say to the guys, hey, I do offer a rush charge. And the reason is I do that rush charge after hours. And you know, I just the same as you at work. If the boss says, "Hey, I want you to stay for 3 hours extra overtime, or 3 hours extra today," you expect to get paid overtime. Exactly the same idea, right? You know, just is what it is. I have other things that I want to be doing, working on trucks and, you know, doing YouTube videos for you guys, all that stuff. And I can't do that stuff if I'm working. So, one of those things. All right. So I think that is probably got the point across. If there's anything else you want me to do videos on talking about for the machine shop stuff, anything that I've missed or anything that you have questions about, hit me up in the comments and catch you on the next one.